Discover the amazing moment a billionaire single dad revealed his heartwarming request to his ma. Jake stood in his grand dining room, adorned with sparkling lights and carefully curated decorations. The aroma of roasted turkey filled the air, mingling with the sweet scent of pumpkin pie. As a billionaire single dad, everything in his life seemed perfect on the surface. But behind the polished veneer, he carried the weight of isolation and longing for connection. This Thanksgiving, he wasn't just hosting a feast, he was trying to rebuild the bridge to his estranged mother, Ellen. Memories flooded Jake's mind, the laughter of family gathered around a simple table, the warmth of his mother's embrace. It felt like ages since they'd shared moments like that. Ellen, a humble woman in her 60s, had worked tirelessly throughout his childhood, sacrificing everything for him and his siblings. Yet, as he climbed the mountains of success, he sensed a growing chasm between them. Though he was wealthy beyond imagination, he felt inadequate next to the life Ellen had provided. His heart ached for her approval. Gathering the courage he could muster, he slipped a secret invitation into the mail, a heartfelt note to his mother, asking her to join him and his kids for Thanksgiving. He longed to mend their fractured bond, hoping this gathering would be the first step. As he set the table, each plate shining like his bank account, he couldn't shake the creeping fear that his wealth would only deepen the divide. He glanced out the window just as the clock struck 6. His children were excitedly bustling about, their laughter a balm for his loneliness. Jake felt a flicker of hope spark within him. Maybe this could be their moment of reconciliation. But as the door creaked open and his mother stepped inside, he immediately sensed a change in the atmosphere. Ellen stood at the entrance, the opulence of Jake's home contrasting sharply with her worn-out jeans and modest parka. Her eyes widened, absorbing the grandeur, every detail a reminder of the distance between them. "Wow, Jake, this is something," she said, her voice wrapped in disbelief. Jake's heart sank as he saw her discomfort, but he held tightly to his vision of family unity. Dinner began with polite conversation, but tension brewed beneath the surface. With every course served, the dialogue became more strained. Jake felt the weight of unspoken resentments hang heavy in the air. Finally, during an emotionally charged moment, he blurted out, "Mom, I want your help to open a community center. I want to give back to the town that built us." Silence fell like a heavy blanket. The request echoed in the room, stirring emotions in Ellen that she hadn't anticipated. Pride wrapped around her heart, yet uncertainty gnawed at her stomach. This was so different from the life they once shared. Could she embrace this new path alongside her son? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The conversation spiraled into a whirlwind of emotions. Jake's desire for recognition collided with Ellen's longing for connection. Voices rose, words spat like arrows. Jake felt his heart racing, the fears of inadequacy battling against the desperate urge for reconciliation. Could he really open his heart to his mother after all these years? As the night wore on and silence seeped deeply into the cracks of strained relationships, Jake looked into Ellen's eyes, searching for clarity amidst the shock. The din of the gathering faded, replaced by the echo of their struggles. Love and resentment, hope and fear. Intertwined, leaving them both teetering on the edge of forgiveness. Could they truly overcome the chasm, or was this just another painful reminder of what they'd lost? The questions hung in the air, thick with unresolved emotions, as the promise of reconciliation loomed just out of reach. The silence stretched, taut as a wire, as Jake's heart hammered in his chest. Ellen's expression was a mix of surprise and conflict. Jake feared he had gone too far with his suggestion, that he had laid bare the reality of their distance and somehow made it worse. Ellen looked down, the flickering candlelight casting soft shadows on her face. Jake, she started, her words trailing off. He could see she was working to piece together her thoughts. There were years of complexity in their relationship, and this conversation felt like trying to build a bridge from a crumbling base. I thought we could create something together, Jake said, his voice barely a whisper now. A way to help kids in our old neighborhood, to create spaces they can enjoy. It reminds me of what you did for us. At the mention of their past, Ellen's eyes glimmered with something not just nostalgia but a painful realization of how far they had drifted. You really want to do this? She asked, glancing up through thick lashes. With me? Yes, Mom. I can't do this alone. I need you. You have wisdom, experience. You know what the kids need. Each word hung heavy with sincerity. This wasn't just about a community center, it was about healing their years of silence, about weaving their separate lives into a shared purpose. The sound of children's laughter drifted from the other room, an innocent reminder of what family could represent. Jake's kids had been watching intently, sensing the tension but still hopefulness etched on their little faces. They wanted this to work. The two worlds, his opulent life and Ellen's humble past, seemed bruised but somehow ready to merge. Ellen's features softened slightly, her guarded demeanor wavering. But what if we fail? What if this is just another pipe dream? Jake could see the fear in her eyes, a fear that had likely held her back more than once. What if we don't? What if this brings us closer, heals us? I don't want any more regrets, I want us to try. Ellen swallowed hard. The weight of her son's plea mirrored the weight of her own doubts and lingering feelings of inadequacy. Could she step into this new world with him, cross this bridge built of boardrooms and business plans? What if she couldn't keep up? Suddenly, an unexpected voice broke through the tension. Grandma, can we make the playground have a slide that goes really high? It was Jake's youngest, a glimmer of possibility sparkling in her eyes. She was unburdened by the weight of the past, eager for excitement and adventure. Ellen couldn't help but chuckle, a genuine smile breaking her stoic demeanor. Well, I think we can at least try. With that spark of humor, a crack appeared in the ice that had encased their relationship for so long. It felt like a small, fragile seed of hope breaking through the surface. Jake felt lighter, sensing a shift in the air around them. Then let us figure this out together, he said, his voice firm but filled with warmth. But as they continued the discussion, Jake sensed that his mother was still holding on to something, an old hurt, a lingering doubt. The room was filled with a renewed energy, but he knew this was just the beginning. What would it take for Ellen to fully embrace this next chapter? Would she be able to let go of her fears and join him? As he met her gaze again, an unspoken question lingered between them: was this small moment enough to reshape the future? And just then, the doorbell rang, a sharp sound breaking through their fragile moment. Ellen's brows knitted in confusion while Jake exchanged a bewildered glance with his kids. Who could possibly be arriving now? Stay here, he said gently, moving towards the door, the warmth of the gathering overshadowed by the dawning uncertainty. As he grasped the handle, heart racing, he wondered if whatever awaited them on the other side would test their fledgling bond further or perhaps lead them to a deeper understanding. Would the surprise visitor be the catalyst for resolution, or would it unravel their tentative beginnings? Jake opened the door, and the chill of the evening breeze rushed in, mingling with the warmth of the room. Standing there was a figure he hadn't expected, a familiar face from their past. It was Marcus, Eleanor's old friend and mentor, holding a folder under his arm and looking as if he'd been caught in a storm. Hey, Jake, Marcus said, an uncertain smile breaking across his face. I hope I'm not interrupting anything. Jake glanced back at Ellen, who had risen from her seat, her surprise clear. There was a mix of emotions dancing in her eyes: joy, confusion, and a hint of something he couldn't quite place. No, not at all, Marcus, Jake replied, stepping aside to let him in. We were just discussing a project. Good. Marcus chuckled, moving past him with a sense of purpose. He turned to Ellen. I figured you might want to join me on something special. It's about the community center. Ellen's breath caught in her throat, her eyes widened as Marcus reached into his folder and pulled out a blueprint, holding it high like a trophy. I had these plans drawn up before all the changes, he continued. I think it's time we look at them again. Wait, what do you mean? Jake asked, curiosity piqued. You've had plans? Yeah, Ellen, Marcus said, glancing from her to Jake, I never believed the dream had to die. We just needed the right people to breathe life into it. There was a fierceness in his determination that struck Jake deep. For years, I watched you too, he turned his gaze to Ellen, you had passion and ingenuity. Don't let fear hold you back now. Ellen's hands trembled slightly as she took the blueprint, her expression shifting from surprise to contemplation. She flipped through the pages, eyes scanning over the designs that had once meant so much to her. I thought this part of my life was over, she whispered, bittersweet memories flooding back. I don't think it has to be, Jake interjected, feeling the air grow thick with possibility. This could be what we need, Mom. We can take a new approach together with Marcus. Ellen's voice faltered. There was a flicker of hope, but also the weight of doubt that still loomed. Would it be enough? Marcus stepped closer, sincerity in his eyes. Ellen, I know you have your fears. But think about the kids who could benefit from this. Think about the legacy you could build, your passion igniting a new future. The passion in Marcus's voice was contagious. Ellen met Jake's gaze, and a storm of emotions churned in the room. The laughter from the children in the other room faded, echoing the silence between them. Everybody deserves a second chance, Jake said earnestly, taking a deep breath. We can create something beautiful here, Mom. Not just for us but for this community that shaped who we are. Ellen looked from Marcus to Jake, then down at the blueprint. The idea of stepping into the past while forging a new future was terrifying but exhilarating. She realized that this moment wasn't just about her or their fractured relationship, it was about reclaiming purpose. All right, she finally said, her voice steadier than before. Let us do this. Just as a wave of relief washed over Jake, the doorbell rang again, this time with a more insistent tone. What in the world? Jake said, glancing at the door, astonished. Ellen's brows furrowed again, her resolve still flickering like the candlelight in the room. Who else could that be? Jake, curiosity mixing with trepidation, walked to the door. He felt a sense of growing urgency in the air. As he turned the handle once more, he couldn't shake the feeling that this moment was spiraling where one surprise could spiral into a whole new set of challenges, or a new beginning altogether. What awaited them now? Would they find the unexpected visitor to be an ally in their quest, or something more disruptive? As Jake opened the door, the hinges creaked, and he was met with an unexpected sight. A woman in a tailored suit stood there, her expression a curious blend of urgency and warmth. Her dark hair was tied back in a neat bun, and her eyes shone with determination. Hi, I'm Rachel, she said, extending a hand. I'm with the Community Outreach Program, and I hear there's exciting talk about revitalizing the center. Jake glanced over his shoulder at Ellen, whose face mirrored his surprise. This was a curveball they hadn't prepared for, but the sense of purpose in Rachel's voice drew him in. Yes, Jake replied, shaking her hand. We were just discussing some plans. Fantastic. Rachel stepped inside, her presence almost filling the room. I've been coordinating with various local businesses to gather support and funding. When I heard about the nostalgia around the old center, I knew I had to get involved. Ellen clutched the blueprint tighter, her eyes flickering with interest. Support? What kind of support? Rachel's face lit up. Monetary donations, volunteer opportunities, potentially even partnerships with local mentors who can share their skills. If you're serious about this, I can help turn that blueprint into something tangible. Jake could sense Ellen's hesitation. She was still weighing the implications of returning to her past. Yet, There was a flicker of excitement in her eyes, seeing something she had once dreamed of come alive again. "Can you really do all that?" Ellen asked, a mix of skepticism and hope in her voice. "Absolutely," Rachel replied confidently. "But we need a plan moving forward. I've seen projects like this flourish when they have a strong core team. If you two are in, we can make a real impact." Jake glanced at Ellen. Her resolve was wavering, but he felt an adrenaline rush as he imagined what they could create together. "Mom, this is it. We can't back down now. You've got Marcus and now Rachel. We can do this." Ellen took a deep breath, the weight of possibility settling over her. "All right, count me in," she said, her voice gaining strength. "But we need to lay everything out. We can't go in blind." Rachel nodded, acknowledging the seriousness of the commitment. "That's the best approach. We start with community input, see what they want and need." The conversation flowed seamlessly, as if the past months of uncertainty were unraveling with each word. They discussed ideas, potential events, and who to approach first. In that moment, laughter filled the air, mingled with the excitement of something freshly unfolding, as if they were standing at the cusp of a great adventure. Just as they began to carve out a timeline, Jake's phone buzzed with a message. He pulled it out, momentarily distracted from the whirlwind of ideas swirling in the room. The message was from one of his friends, something vague and mysterious: "You need to be careful. Someone is watching you." Jake's heart raced. He didn't like the sound of that. But it felt like a storm brewing on the horizon. Could it be related to this new project, or something from their past? He looked up, his expression darkening. Guys, I think we might have a bigger issue on our hands." What did his friend mean? Would their plans be threatened before they even got started? Jake's breath caught in his throat as he watched Rachel and Ellen react to his words. Rachel's brow furrowed, and Ellen's face paled slightly, the excitement dwindling like a flame flickering in the wind. "What do you mean, Jake?" Rachel asked, her hands now clasped tightly in front of her. "I got this text," he replied, holding up his phone. The message felt ominous, heavy with implications. "It says someone's watching us. I don't know if it's about the project, but it feels unsettling." Ellen took a step closer to Jake, her protective instinct kicking in. "Do you think it's someone from the past, or just a prank?" "I don't know," Jake admitted, glancing between the two women. "But it's enough to make me worry." Rachel's eyes sharpened. "We can't let fear hold us back. If someone is indeed watching, we must stay focused on what we're trying to accomplish. It's only going to get loud around us as we go forward." Ellen nodded slowly, but Jake could see the concern etched on her features. "What if they want to sabotage our plans? Or worse?" Rachel placed a reassuring hand on Ellen's shoulder. "Then we make sure the community is informed. We build this project together, and we not only grow in visibility but in protection. If we unite, they won't succeed." Jake felt a surge of empowerment from Rachel's words. "You're right. I can't let myself be scared off before we even start lifting our heads. Okay, let's just keep our heads down, focus on building support, and see where this leads." "Exactly," Rachel affirmed, her eyes glimmering with enthusiasm. "Let us map out a community meeting, connect with businesses, and start bringing everyone into the loop. The community deserves to know how they can be involved." Ellen slowly released her breath as new determination sparked within her. "Okay then. Let us plan this meeting and invite people. Maybe even remind them of the center's importance, its history and its potential." They dove back into discussions, the tension easing as they brainstormed ideas. Jake felt hope grow in his chest. They were creating something meaningful, and even the shadow of a threat couldn't dim that sparkle just yet. The atmosphere shifted again when Rachel pulled out her tablet, eager to sketch out an initial timeline. Just as she started to type, another message popped up on Jake's phone. He hesitated, his heart pounding, but then opened it. "This isn't a joke," Jake. I'm serious. You need to see this. His stomach dropped as he realized it was from a different friend, someone closer to the situation back at school. The message continued, remember last fall? Things didn't end well for you. Stay alert. He felt the color drain from his face. The past was creeping back in, a cold wave washing over him. Jake met the eyes of both women, his expression grave. I think we need to find out who's behind this now. Ellen nodded, fear mingled with resolve on her face. Rachel leaned forward, a fire igniting in her gaze. Then let us do it. But first, let us finish what we started today. We need community support, and we get that by showing them we're not afraid. Jake took a deep breath. He wanted to feel that confidence too, but the shadows of fear danced at the corners of his mind. Right, he said, trying to mask his uncertainty. Let us plan this meeting, focus on gathering our community, and then we'll figure out the rest. As they moved forward with their plans, the weight of what was lurking outside their door loomed like a dark cloud. Yet, they were ready to stand together, even if the storm was closing in. Would the community rally around them? Or would the past unravel everything they aimed to build? The next morning, the sun broke through the clouds, casting a warm light over the small town. Jake found himself staring out of his window, watching the birds flit around, their chirps almost cheerful. Deep down, he wanted to feel that lightness, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was waiting for him, something lurking just out of view. As he made his way to the community center, he could feel the tension in his chest. His mind swirled with the possibilities of who could be watching. Would it be someone interested in sabotaging them? Or was it someone from his past, eager to dig a canyon between him and Rachel and Ellen? When Jake arrived at the center, he was greeted by the familiar faces of volunteers setting up for the meeting. The walls were adorned with colorful posters advertising their project, a beacon of hope for the community. Despite his worries, seeing everyone gathered lifted his spirits. Jake! Rachel called, her voice bright against the subdued atmosphere. She was setting up a table filled with flyers. We have a lot to do. Are you ready? He nodded, forcing a smile. Yeah, just trying to push the doubts away. Ellen approached, brushing her fingers through her hair. You okay? You seem a little off. Just, thinking about the message again. We can't ignore it, he said, the weight of the past creeping back into his mind. But we also can't let it sidetrack us. Exactly. Rachel said, her hands on her hips, her determination steadying him. We're stronger than whatever is trying to put a damper on our plans. As they began to arrange the seating for the meeting, Jake surveyed the room. The chairs formed a sturdy circle symbolic of community, of unity. But even as he worked alongside them, he couldn't shake the feeling that they might be stepping into a trap. Just then, a voice broke through his thoughts. Hey, Jake. It was Marcus, an old schoolmate. What's this I hear about a big project? Sounds exciting. Yeah, it is, Jake said, forcing enthusiasm. We're trying to bring everyone together to save the community center. Marcus nodded, but there was a flicker in his eyes. I think that's great. He hesitated, then added, but just be careful, all right? People don't always share the same vision. As Marcus walked away, Jake's heart sank. Doubt crept back in, but he pushed it aside. Rachel and Ellen were counting on him. He had to pull it together. The room filled up as folks from the community began to trickle in, excited murmurs joyous and loud. Jake exchanged glances with Rachel and Ellen, stealthy signs of reassurance. The meeting commenced with Rachel at the helm, exuding an energy that captivated everyone. As they shared ideas, plans flowed and transformed into something tangible, each participant inspired to contribute. Jake felt the momentum build, but fear still lurked beneath the surface. Just when he thought the atmosphere was impenetrable, his phone buzzed again. He pulled it out, heart pounding as he read the new message, "You're making a mistake. This isn't over." The words felt like ice in his veins. He glanced at Rachel and Ellen, who were caught up in the positive energy of the moment, unaware of the threat that was gathering just beyond the shadows. Could the community really band together against an unseen enemy? Or was this just the beginning of a fight that might destroy everything they had worked so hard to build? Jake's heart raced. The message felt like a cold splash of water in the midst of the warm buzz surrounding him. He looked up, trying to catch a moment to refocus. Rachel was gesturing passionately, her voice filled with hope. Ellen was smiling, enthusiastic, feeding off that energy. They were all so invested, so unaware of the shadows gathering outside their circle of light. He took a deep breath, wanting to be part of that positivity again. Forcing himself to tuck his phone away, he joined the discussion, but the words on the screen lingered in his mind like an unwelcome ghost. This isn't over. What did that even mean? As Rachel introduced new ideas, Jake could see everyone leaning in, eager to contribute. They offered suggestions, dreaming of a revitalized community center where they could hold events, classes, and gatherings the heart of their small town. It was beautiful and hopeful, but Jake felt a dull ache in his chest. Why was he the only one feeling this weight? Or was everyone else hiding their fears behind smiles? Midway through the meeting, a loud knock echoed from the door. The cheerful conversations faltered, and a hush fell over the room. Jake exchanged a worried glance with Ellen, who raised an eyebrow in concern. Who could that be? Rachel asked, glancing toward the door. A few heads turned, straining to see. Jake stood at the back, feeling the tension coil tighter. He could sense something was about to break, and suddenly, he wasn't sure he wanted to see who or what waited on the other side. The door swung open, revealing a tall figure in a dark jacket. They stepped inside, revealing a familiar face, Charlie, Jake's estranged brother. The air thickened, and Jake's heart plummeted. Jake. We need to talk, Charlie said sharply, scanning the room. The quiet room erupted in whispers. Rachel's hand flew to her mouth, and Ellen's eyes widened in disbelief. Jake clenched his fists. This was the last thing he needed right now. Not here, Jake hissed, stepping closer. His instinct was to turn away, but Charlie's eyes held something of desperation that twisted Jake's gut. Please. It's important, Charlie insisted, voice low but intense. Jake cast a glance at Rachel and Ellen, who were exchanging bewildered looks. Should he involve them in this? The past was littered with pain, misunderstandings, and regrets. Everything okay? Ellen asked gently, breaking through Jake's whirlwind of emotions. Jake took a deep breath. He couldn't just ignore his brother. Not now. I need to handle this, he finally muttered, moving outside. As he stepped into the cool air, Charlie followed closely, the tension between them palpable. What are you doing here? Jake snapped, frustration boiling. I came to help, Charlie said, his voice softer, almost pleading. I know I messed things up before, but there is something I need to tell you. Something about the message. Jake's stomach dropped. What did he mean? Suddenly, the message wasn't just some random threat, it was becoming personal. Do you really think you can just walk back in and fix things? Jake fired back, pain flooding his voice. He had no idea whether he could trust his brother, but that old bond, that tug of family, wouldn't he let him shut Charlie out entirely? Charlie locked eyes with him, sincerity etched on his face. You don't understand. This involves you. It's not just about the project anymore. A chill ran through Jake, unsettling his already fraught mind. What could that possibly mean? He took a shaky breath, feeling the weight of the moment press upon him. What are you saying? Charlie stepped closer, his next words hanging in the air, heavy and expectant. Someone wants to sabotage your plans, they want to hurt you, Jake. The words hit Jake hard, sending his heart into a frantic rhythm. Who would want to hurt them? The answer could unravel everything he had fought for. His thoughts spiraled as the possibility intensified. Who could be lying in wait in the shadows of his own life? Jake took a step back, grappling with what this all meant. What should I do? He asked, desperation seeping through. Charlie's eyes darkened with worry. We need to go back and tell Rachel and Ellen. They have a right to know, before it's too late. As they turned to head back inside, Jake felt his pulse quicken, uncertainty twisting like a knife inside him. Would his brother's reappearance save them or doom them all? What lay ahead could tear their fragile community apart. Just then, Jake's phone buzzed violently in his pocket again. Without checking, he sensed the ominous presence within the message, an urgency that threatened to overshadow everything. What fate awaited them when they stepped back into that room? As they walked back into the meeting room, a suffocating tension filled the air, thicker than the musty scent of the old building surrounding them. Jake's mind was racing, thoughts colliding like thunder in a storm. Charlie hung close beside him, silent but charged with urgency. They could sense the confusion among Rachel and Ellen, their expressions snapping to concern as soon as they entered. Jake, what is going on? Rachel broke the charged silence. Jake struggled to find the words. Part of him wanted to shield his friends from the encroaching darkness, but he couldn't ignore Charlie's warning. It felt like the ground was shifting beneath him, and if he wasn't careful, he'd fall into a chasm of secrets. We need to talk about something important, Jake finally managed, his voice steadier than he felt. He glanced back at Charlie, seeking a nod of approval. We just got some unsettling news, Charlie added, his tone serious. It involves the community center project and Jake. What kind of news? Ellen pressed, her forehead creased with worry. He couldn't shake off the dread that coiled around his stomach. Someone wants to sabotage it. They want to hurt us. The room fell silent, everyone's faces shifting to disbelief. Rachel's eyes widened, reflecting a mix of fear and confusion. What do you mean? Who? Why? That's the problem, Charlie said, stepping forward. I don't know. But it's real, and we need to be careful. We can't let our guard down. The group exchanged quick, panicked glances. The liveliness that had once bounced off the walls felt like a memory from another life. Jake's heart pounded louder in the heavy silence. We need to figure this out together, as a team, he urged, searching each face for solidarity. If they're targeting us, we have to be ready. Ellen nodded slowly, her voice trembling slightly. What do we do? Do we contact the police? Jake shook his head, sensing the need for caution and discretion. No, not yet. If we go to the police, it might escalate things before we're ready. We need to gather information first. Find out who might be behind this. Rachel folded her arms, determination hardening her features. Let us brainstorm. We're a community, we can stand together against this threat. A flicker of hope ignited within Jake. He saw their resolve shine brighter against the looming storm, like a lantern in the dark. Perhaps they could weather this together. The conversation picked up speed, ideas flowing, suggestions coming forth one after another. But as they spoke, Jake couldn't shake the feeling of dread lurking in the back of his mind. Every plan crafted felt precarious, dangling by a thread. Suddenly, Jake's phone buzzed again, startling him. He pulled it from his pocket, his heart sinking as he saw the same unknown number flashing on the screen. It's from the same person. Charlie leaned closer, his expression severe. You need to read it, Jake. This might be what we need. The room held its breath, every gaze fixed on him. With shaking hands, Jake opened the message. The words were swift and menacing. I know what you're planning. Step back or suffer the consequences. A chill ran down his spine, the air thickening. What now? Jake gasped, feeling the walls close in around them. Fear clawed at his throat. Rachel spoke up, albeit hesitantly. They know about our plans, but we can't let fear win. We fight back. We need to uncover this threat. In that moment, Jake felt the simmering mix of fear and defiance electrify the room. But the question remained, how deep did the betrayal run? Who could they trust? As they joined forces, brainstorming over potential leads and allies, Jake felt a flicker of hope ignite amid the gathering storm. Yet, in the back of his mind, the nagging thought spiraled, would fighting back come at an even greater cost? With everything on the line, Jake knew their small community faced the ultimate test. And just as he felt hope swell, the door burst open once again, a familiar face appearing, someone he hadn't seen in years. Jake's heart dropped. What did they want? And most importantly, were they friend or foe? The figure that stepped into the room looked both familiar and foreign at the same time. It was Nate, Jake's childhood friend, someone he had shared countless adventures with, but also the one who had vanished when life got complicated. Years had passed, and the innocence of their youth seemed a lifetime away. Jake? Nate's voice wavered, laced with both hesitation and hope. The tension in the room shifted as the others turned to gauge his reaction. Jake's heart quickened. Why was he here now? What are you doing here? Jake asked, forcing the words past the lump in his throat. Nate took a step inside, scanning the room. I heard some talk about the community center. It sounded urgent, so I came. His eyes darted to Charlie, then back to Jake. Is it true? Are you in trouble? The atmosphere thickened again, the weight of Nate's presence pressing down like a heavy fog. Ellen exchanged glances with Rachel, both appearing uncertain. Right now, we're trying to figure out how to stop someone from sabotaging our project, Jake said, pushing through his unease. What's your angle? I'm not here to cause problems, Nate replied, a hint of defensiveness creeping into his tone. I want to help. I've missed this place, and I owe you both. I want to make things right. Charlie shifted, visibly skeptical. How can we trust you? You left without a word, Nate. Things are different now. Stakes are higher. I know, he replied quietly, head lowering. But I've had my own demons to face. I'm not the same person I was back then. I've seen what happens when you turn your back on family. If you let me in, I promise to give everything I have to protect this place. Jake caught a flicker of sincerity in Nate's eyes but felt a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. Memories crowded his thoughts, summer nights filled with laughter, their secrets shared under the stars, and the sense of betrayal that came when Nate had disappeared. Having you here could be a double-edged sword, Rachel chimed in, her voice steady, yet her gaze betraying uncertainty. If you really want to help, there needs to be a plan. We can't risk this community center. It means too much to too many people. Nate nodded, understanding the gravity of their situation now more than ever. I'll do whatever it takes. Just tell me what I need to do. As they exchanged ideas, a little warmth began to unfold in Jake's chest, fueled by the shared burden of their current plight. Maybe Nate could really help, or maybe this was a trap waiting to snap shut. The urgency of the moment had pushed aside doubts for now. Just as they began crafting a strategy, Jake's phone buzzed once more. He hesitated but finally picked it up, dread sinking in anew. The same unidentified sender was back with another ominous message, enough playing games. You have 24 hours to abandon your plans, or the consequences will haunt you. Jake's stomach dropped, the gravity of the situation heavy in the air. He locked eyes with Nate, his heart racing. We need to move, now. With the threat looming, the group sprang into action. They had to work swiftly, setting aside fears and personal histories. As the discussion heated up, Jake felt a strange mix of unity and apprehension. Would they be able to put aside past betrayals and trust Nate enough to fight for their community center? As they prepared for what lay ahead, Jake thought about one fundamental question: in a world of uncertainty, what truly defined their loyalties? And did they have enough time to figure it out before it was too late? The sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows as Jake and his team gathered their scattered thoughts and fears into a plan. The looming threat weighed heavily on their hearts, yet a spark of hope flickered in every face. They all stood at a crossroads, either succumb to fear and retreat, or rise together against adversity. "Let us break it down," Rachel initiated, her voice clear and commanding. "We need to gather as many people as we can to back us. Strength in numbers, right?" They nodded, the idea of unity buoying their spirits. Jake felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were building something more than a community center, they were rebuilding trust and hope within themselves. "If we get the word out, let people know there's a meeting about our community center, we might draw in some allies," Ellen suggested, her hands trembling slightly from excitement. "Let us run some social media posts, but also, we need flyers in the area," Jake added, his heart racing with the thrill of possibility. Every voice counts. Their plans solidified, everyone worked in a flurry of energy, diving into calls, texts, and crafting social media posts about the community meeting. Even Nate, stepping out of his shell, filled in the gaps enthusiastically, sharing ideas he hadn't thought possible before. As the night rolled in, Jake paused at the window again, looking out toward the stars. He remembered his mother's hard work, the laughter they had lost, and all the moments they had missed. He knew that this was their chance to heal those old wounds, not only for him and Ellen but for the community that shaped their lives. Suddenly, a loud rapping echoed from the door again, breaking his reverie. His heart galloped in his chest, and fear whispered that he could feel the shadows closing in. He motioned for Rachel and Charlie to stay focused behind him as he opened the door, ready to face whatever shadow loomed. To his astonishment, there stood a lineup of familiar faces from his childhood friends, neighbors, and families he had known. Hope reignited as they beamed with excitement. "We heard about what you're doing and want to help," one neighbor exclaimed. Tears of joy threatened to spill from Jake's eyes. This was the community coming together, not fragmented and broken but unified. The weight of the past began to lift. Together, they were determined to reclaim their space, a vibrant community center that could offer comfort, learning, joy, and a new beginning. That night became a whirlwind of effort. Flyers flew into eager hands, each person volunteering to spread the word. As laughter filled Jake's home, the sense of solidarity shattered the barrier that once kept Jake and Ellen apart. "Mom, look at how many people are here," he said, a radiant smile splitting across his face. "They believe in us. They believe in this. I can't believe it." "I'm so proud of you," she replied, her eyes shimmering with tears. "Not just for the project, but for mending our relationship, too." As they swapped ideas and dreams, the phone hovered quietly on the table. Jake momentarily forgot the ominous messages lurking in the shadows. He was filled with warmth and joy, reveling in the camaraderie that had returned to their lives. But just when they thought they could breathe a sigh of relief, a deep knock echoed through the room once more. Jake shot glances around at his friends, apprehensive yet resolute. With steady determination, he strode toward the door again, uncertain of how this might unfold. Opening it, a figure loomed, this time a stern-looking man in a dark suit. "Jake Riley?" he asked, his voice low and commanding. A gasp rippled through the group. "Yeah. Who are you?" Jake responded, his heart galloping in his chest. "Name's Caldwell," the man said, sharply. "I've been hearing buzz about your community center plans. I'm here on behalf of someone who genuinely believes in your vision, though others do not." Jake's brows furrowed, his fear creeping back. "What do you mean?" Caldwell's gaze narrowed. "You're crossing the wrong people. You need to see what you're stepping into. Do you really think this will be a smooth ride?" Before Jake could respond, Caldwell continued, "Consider yourself warned. You have influence, but there's danger lurking. Act wisely." Just like that, before Jake could form words, the man turned and walked away into the twilight, leaving an air of foreboding lingering in his wake. Jake turned back to the room, stunned. What just happened? Rachel stepped forward, determination glistening in her eyes. We don't have time to be scared. We need to keep moving toward our goal. This is bigger than just us now. Charlie nodded, stepping into the light. If their whispers can't keep us down, we keep moving. Together. As conversations circulated with strength, Jake felt a surge of confidence wash over him. In this moment, they knew they couldn't let shadows of the past rob them of this future. They would stand united, friend by friend, neighbor by neighbor against whatever storm awaited them. This time, the uncertainty wouldn't break them. They were building something stronger than fear. They were creating a home where healing, love, and hope would flourish. And for the first time in a long while, Jake felt the light of possibility glow bright, urging them all forward together. Before the moon graced the night, they rallied their spirits and hearts, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. So, hold on tight, everyone. This story is just beginning to shine. Now, remember, you need to subscribe now to the channel so you never miss a moment of transformation like this. Leave a like to feed the algorithm and encourage more incredible stories. Comment now on your thoughts and feelings about this jaw-dropping conclusion. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to catch this wave of inspiration. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second, because heartfelt transformations like this deserve to reach every corner of our community.